Hello everyone, welcome back to G&J Exploring. In today's video we do the first part of our trip to Prague. We start off at Luton Airport and have a very acceptable flight over to Prague, not taking too long at all. In Prague we get right to exploring and go visit the river before heading down to the dancing house in the new town. We then carry on down the river to a farmer's market, which is very luckily open on a Saturday, and then carry on a bit more to a large fort and an old church. We then walk back up to the city centre and go visit an excellent restaurant which has model trains driving around while you eat. We then head back to the hotel via a Franz Kafka rotating head sculpture. After a little bit of a rest, we head back out for dinner and go visit the Charles Bridge at sunset before heading to Hemingway Bar for a couple of drinks before getting back to the hotel for bed. I hope you enjoy the video and on with the show. It's a new day and once again Julius and I are here at Luton Airport, and today we are going to be heading off to Prague. We're about to get on our nice Wizz Air flight and we'll be in Prague in around about 2 hours, so we'll see you in Prague. So as you can see, Juliet and I have reached Prague. Took us all in all about 5¼ hours to get from our beds in the UK to the hotel in Prague, which is pretty good going given how far we've come, so we're very happy with that. It's only about 9:30 in the morning and we are out and about in the city now. Our hotel is next to the old town, so nice and central, and we've now found the river. If I spin round a little bit you can see the Charles Bridge there, which is apparently a famous bridge. On the other side of the river we have some castles and some cathedrals. We'll be heading over there tomorrow, but for now we're going to be heading down here past Juliet to somewhere called the Dancing House, and Juliet says it's got a cafe, which is where we're going to go for some breakfast.
We are now up at the Dancing House Cafe. They've changed the rules a little bit, so you either get a drink inside or you go outside for the same price. There's George with his drink, but I have to say it is quite a nice view out of Prague. You can see the castle there, you can see the Nanny's house, which is an art exhibition centre, and the thing with the green roof is a concert hall. So it's probably not a major attraction of Prague, but we are very happy with our drinks and sit down looking at the view.
So it's about 10 minutes after our last video and the rain has come in. It was always supposed to rain today, so I guess we were lucky to have some sun earlier. But we've got this nice view of the castle in the distance, river in the foreground. We've got the two buildings Juliet mentioned to the side there, and spinning around past Juliet, looking across the very busy road, we have the Dancing House, which was designed by Frank, who does wobbly buildings and looks very interesting. So the cafe at the top was okay, but as Juliet mentioned, nothing too special. And we're now going to be heading down the river to see what we can find. So we're a bit further down the river and we have found a farmer's market. Juliet has bought some snacks. And it is actually quite an authentic farmer's market by the looks of it. There's actually some locals here and the smells are excellent. It also appears it's socially acceptable to drink lager at 10 o'clock in the morning, which I think I'm going to enjoy for the next couple of days. So we're just past the farmer's market. The rain has come in a touch more and we have this nice arched steel girder bridge in front of us which carries the railway line. Very nice, always good to see a good bridge. And spinning round we have the reason we're here, to see this sort of church monastery fortress in front of us called Vyšehrad or something similar. Unfortunately the words here are quite hard to pronounce, so there's a fortress up there and we're going to be heading up it to see what we can find. So we're up at the top of this place whose name I cannot say. I'm going to go with Vysehrad this time, but it has a long history apparently. Old castle, place where the royals used to live, part of the fortifications of the capital, and we're not entirely sure what's here, but we're going to go and have a look around. If I spin around, the entrance is just there, we're heading through it shortly. If I come over here we do have another excellent view out across the river. and the castle in the distance. So we've reached the church at the top, and a very impressive church it is. We're not going to go in because we don't tend to go into churches too often. Not those sort of people, but very interesting. And we are now going to head into this bit of greenery, which I think is part of the old fort, judging by what I've already read. And Juliet seems to have found a info board, which, yes, it does look like this is part of the old fort and the royal residence. So we're a little bit past the church, which is just over there, and we've got this excellent view out across the landscape. We've got the river again, we've got the castle in the distance. Oh, it's excellent, well worth doing. We also have this nice info plaque here with all the bridges and landscape sort of marked on it. So we've come down from around here near the Most Legill Bridge, and we're now down here just past the railway bridge. So we're now around the other side of the fortress. We're looking down the river the direction we've not seen before, and it's very nice looking out across the sort of outskirts of Prague here. But what is most impressive is the sheer size of the fortification we're on. So if you look over in distance, you see how high those brick walls are, and yeah, this is definitely a major bit of engineering to build this in the past. So we've come back to the church, and we're now in its graveyard, I guess, and a very impressive graveyard it is. Certainly people weren't sparing any expense on the size of the monument they got, but very nice, and we have a nice view of the church there in front of us. So we're leaving the fortress area, and we've got this very impressive gatehouse, I guess, underneath the walls. And this is an absolutely massive fortification, much bigger than many of the things you'll find in the UK. And being on top of a hill, I guess it was very hard to get into it. But if I spin round, we're now at the bottom of the walls, and you can see how massive they are. So we've left the castle, and we're just heading through some of the suburbs of Prague, past some very nice buildings still. And we're heading up to the train station. I think the National Museum is just up here as well. We're not going to pop into that. The lady at the hotel said it would take about 4 hours to go around it. And to be honest, Julius and I are not feeling like doing that right at this moment. So the next stop's going to be top of the stairs, and then we'll be heading towards the train station. So we have the National Museum there in front of us, looking very impressive. The train station's a bit more in the distance, but we're just be heading round the corner here to a restaurant, and the restaurant has a special gimmick which we will get to once we're inside. So, as you might be able to tell, the gimmick of this place is that your order comes on a train.
So I think I've made a mistake, ladies and gentlemen, bringing George to this place. We're meant to be having deep, meaningful conversations, and he just stares at trains instead. Thankfully for me, I've got a nice view of some pro-Czech Republic rally. I think it's some Heritage Day in the city. Guys, this is what George looks at. And here we have a special delivery. George, should we do the honours? George has to be quick here, which is not something George normally is good at. So that is our train. Empty train now. And it is off, ladies and gentlemen.
So we are on the way out of the restaurant, and we can see how it works a little bit more. We have the beer loading station, and then if you get a slightly better table, you have your own siding for the beer. And if we come over here, we can see the food loading station, a lot of trains in it, and you've got a great board flickering a little bit on my screen, but hopefully you can see it, which shows where all the trains are all the time. So I believe we were somewhere around here. That's where we were. Not quite sure there. But yeah, really cool place. Just about the best restaurant I've ever been to, and heartily recommended. So this is the Vytopna restaurant. The Czech names are very hard to pronounce, but this is a meat and beer restaurant. Excellent beer, very nice burgers. So we're coming off the main street where they're having that Czech gathering. It does have a name which I just cannot pronounce. I'm not going to even try. We'll do a summation at the end of the trip and we'll do it then. We're now in the Vysehrad arcade, which Juliet tells me used to be a cinema, and we're just wandering through it on our way back to the hotel. Looks like there's an interesting statue here of an upside down man, and Juliet is now going to take the camera to show us something.
So this is Wenceslas upside down. So elsewhere in Prague he's the right way around, whereas here he's upside down and you can stand underneath him. And this is the old cinema George just spoke to you about. They still do have showings, however they are all in Czech. So we're on our way back to the hotel, and in front of us is a sculpture which Juliet tells me is called the Big-Headed Man. She might be lying about that. Listening to the giggling next to me, she is lying. She's probably going to whisper in my ear what the name is, and it is Franz Kafka.
It's called the Franz Kafka.
Rotating head by David Cerny.
But basically, it's a sculpture where it rotates, and you get to see the head rotating. To me, it looks like Cristiano Ronaldo, but that's maybe just me. It is definitely an interesting art piece, and we will shut up for a minute and watch it rotate around. It's a bit later in the day. We've had a couple of hours of sleeping because of our early start, but we're out and about again, and we're back where we started today, looking at the river, but the sun is now setting. We have a few clouds to give it a sense of epicness, and we're now just going to head over to the Charles Bridge over there, which is somewhere you're supposed to come to watch the sunset, which explains why I can see about 1,000 people currently stood on it. So we're going to head over there and we'll do another video. So we're on the bridge and it is pretty busy. Juliet tells me that the side of the river that the castle's on, where we're going tomorrow, is sort of the new town and a bit cheaper, so that's where people stay. And as a result, they're all coming into the old town where we're staying. But it's quite good. We've got a man singing a song very badly. And if I spin round, we have the nice sunset in the distance. But this is a very impressive bridge. Spinning round even more past Juliet's. This bridge has got lots of statues on it, and it's got this very nice tower at the end. So yep, definitely worth coming to. And we're going to watch the sunset go down, and then we're going to go find a bar. So it's only a few minutes later on the bridge, but the sun has now set, as you can see. But we found a friend down there. So down there on the furthest of the wooden logs on that sort of ramp-like structure, there is a beaver chilling out. So Juliet tells me beavers are sort of native to the area and are hanging around on the river. And there's one down there, looks like it's trying to climb up the log, failing a bit by the looks of it. I might have to zoom in a touch for you to really get a good view, but it's now made its way out of the water a little bit. And it's just sitting there on the log, scratching its nose.
It's a bit later in the evening. George took us to a normal bar and I decided to up the ante and come to Hemingway's. Here is George with a Hemingway's Garden cocktail,
Which has absinthe in it.
Yeah, and I have gone for a Mistress, which is gin based. So it's a really old bar here in Prague. Hemingway themed, lots of pictures of Hemingway, proper waiters, proper old school. Depends on if George can walk after his absence. We will see you tomorrow.